When my sister Jessica knocked on my door that Friday evening in March 2015, holding her 3-year-old daughter Emma by the hand, I had no idea that this would be the last time I would see her for 10 years. "Sarah," she said with that charming smile she had perfected since childhood, "I just need you to watch Emma for 1 week. There's an emergency at work and I have to fly to Atlanta. I'll be back next Friday, I promise." I looked down at little Emma, her big brown eyes staring up at me, clutching a worn teddy bear. How could I say no? She was my niece, my only sibling's daughter. Of course I would help. 1 week. That was all she said. 1 week. I was 48 years old then, working as a dental assistant, living in a small one-bedroom apartment in Portland. I had plans that week. I was supposed to go on a third date with Daniel, a guy I had met at a coffee shop who made me laugh until my stomach hurt. I was supposed to finally organize my closet. I was supposed to have my life. But family comes first. That's what our mother always taught us. So I said yes. Jessica left in such a hurry. She had one small backpack for Emma with 3 outfits, a toothbrush, and that teddy bear. "I'll send you money for anything you need," she called out as she rushed to her car. "Thank you so much, Sarah. You're the best sister ever. I'll call you tomorrow." She didn't call tomorrow, or the day after, or the day after that. By Wednesday, I had called her 15 times. Every call went to voicemail. I sent texts. Nothing. I called her workplace, a marketing firm where she claimed to work. They told me they had no employee by that name. My stomach dropped. I called her landlord. He told me Jessica had moved out 2 weeks ago without paying her last month's rent. She had lied about everything. That Friday, when she was supposed to come back, I sat on my couch with Emma sleeping beside me, and I realized the truth. My sister had abandoned her own daughter. She had used me, and now I was stuck with the responsibility I had never asked for. I cried that night after Emma fell asleep. I cried for hours, holding a throw pillow against my mouth so I wouldn't wake her. I was angry. I was terrified. I was 28 years old with no husband, no partner, no experience with children beyond occasional babysitting. And now I had a 3-year-old depending on me for everything. The first month was chaos. Emma cried every night asking for her mama. I had to explain in words a 3-year-old could understand why her mother wasn't there, even though I didn't understand it myself. I had to cancel my date with Daniel. When I finally told him what happened, he said he admired my strength but wasn't ready for an instant family. I never heard from him again. My one-bedroom apartment suddenly felt impossibly small. Emma slept on my bed while I slept on the couch. My back ached every morning. I spent $600 that first month on clothes, toys, and a toddler bed. Money I didn't have. I called Child Protective Services, desperate for guidance. They told me that unless I officially reported Emma as abandoned, which would put her into the foster system, there wasn't much they could do. I couldn't do that to her. Despite everything, I loved this little girl. She was innocent in all of this. So I made a choice. I would raise her myself until Jessica came back. Surely she would come back. I hired a lawyer to try to find Jessica. That cost me $1,500 I pulled from my small savings account. He found nothing. She had disappeared completely, like smoke. By month 3, I had to move to a 2-bedroom apartment. The rent went from $850 to $1,400. I picked up extra shifts at the dental office, working sometimes 60 hours a week. A neighbor, Mrs. Chen, a kind elderly woman, agreed to watch Emma after daycare until I got home. I paid her $400 a month. Daycare itself was $900. I was drowning financially, working myself to exhaustion, and barely keeping my head above water. Emma started calling me Mama when she was 4. The first time it happened, we were at the grocery store. She pointed at a box of cookies and said, "Mama, can we get these?" I froze in the middle of the aisle. A woman nearby smiled at us, and I smiled back automatically, but inside I was breaking. I wasn't her mama. I was her aunt who had been forced into this role. but looking at her hopeful face, I couldn't correct her. "Yes, sweetie, we can get the cookies," I said quietly. I spent every birthday, every Christmas, every school play, every scraped knee, every nightmare, every triumph right there beside her. I taught her to read. I held her hand on her first day of kindergarten. I stayed up all night when she had the flu. I became her mother in every way except biology. The cost wasn't just financial. It was my 20s. It was my social life. It was my dreams of traveling, of finding love, of building my own family on my own terms. By the time Emma was 8, I had spent over $87,000 on her care. I did the math one sleepless night, adding up rent, food, clothes, medical care, school supplies, activities. $87,000 from my salary, my savings, my retirement fund that I cashed out early with penalties. I never dated. How could I? Every man I tried to get close to ran when they realized I had a child. "Not my child," they would say, as if that made it better. "Why are you raising your sister's kid? Where is she?" Those questions haunted me. I had no answers. Jessica was a ghost. I tried to find her every few months, searching social media, hiring another investigator when I could scrape together the money. Nothing. She had vanished completely, leaving me to pick up the pieces of her mess. Emma grew into a beautiful, smart, kind girl. She excelled in school. She made friends easily. She was on the soccer team. Looking at her, no one would know the trauma of her early years. I made sure of that. I protected her from the truth as long as I could. When she asked about her mama, about me, I told her carefully chosen half-truths. "Your mama loved you very much, but had to go away. I'm taking care of you now. I love you so much." The anger never fully went away. Some nights after Emma fell asleep, I would sit in my room and imagine what I would say to Jessica if she ever came back. I rehearsed angry speeches. I imagined screaming at her, demanding answers. "Why did you do this? How could you abandon your own child? Do you have any idea what you took from me?" But the years passed, and she never came. Emma turned 10, then 11, then 12. I went through all the middle school drama with her. The friend fights, the first crush, the body changes, the mood swings. I helped her pick out her first bra. I explained periods to her. I was there for everything. When Emma turned 13, I finally told her the full truth. She was old enough to handle it, mature enough to understand. We sat on the couch, the same couch I'd cried on that first night 10 years ago. "Emma," I said, my voice shaking, "there is something I need to tell you about your mom, about Jessica." I explained everything, how Jessica had left her with me for what was supposed to be 1 week, how she never came back, how she had lied about her job, disappeared completely, how I had tried to find her for years. Emma listened quietly, tears rolling down her cheeks. When I finished, she was silent for a long moment. Then she looked at me and said, "But you stayed. You didn't leave me." She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. "You're my real mom, Sarah. You always have been." That moment healed something in me I didn't know was broken, but the anger at Jessica remained. She had stolen years of my life. She had forced this responsibility on me without asking, without warning, without any regard for what I wanted or needed. And she had hurt Emma in ways that might never fully heal. Then, on a Tuesday morning in October 2025, exactly 10 years and 7 months after Jessica disappeared, my doorbell rang. I opened it, and there she stood, Jessica. She looked older, different. Her hair was shorter, dyed blonde instead of her natural brown. She had new glasses, but it was unmistakably her. "Hi, Sarah," she said, casually, as if she had just seen me yesterday. "Is Emma home? I'd like to see my daughter." The audacity of those words hit me like a physical blow. My daughter. After 10 years of silence, abandonment, 0 phone calls, 0 birthday cards, 0 child support, 0 anything, she stood on my doorstep asking to see her daughter. I felt my hands start to shake. Every angry speech I had rehearsed over the years evaporated. All I could manage was, "What?" "I know it's been a while," she said with a nervous laugh. A while. A decade. 10 years. 3,665 days. But I'm in a better place now. I've sorted out my life. I'm ready to be a mother again. I want Emma to come live with me. The words kept coming out of her mouth, but they didn't make sense. Ready to be a mother again, as if she had ever been a mother to begin with, as if you could just press pause on being a parent for 10 years and then hit play when it was convenient. "No," I said. It was the first word I could form. "No?" she repeated, her face showing genuine surprise. "Sarah, she's my daughter. Legally, I have rights." Rights? That word made something snap inside me. "You have rights?" I said, my voice getting louder. "You abandoned her for 10 years. You left her with me for what was supposed to be 1 week. You lied about your job. You disappeared. You never called. You never sent money. You never sent a birthday card. You have no rights." Jessica's face hardened. I had problems back then. I was depressed. I couldn't handle being a mother. But I've changed. I'm better now. I have a good job, a nice apartment in Seattle. I'm engaged. Emma deserves to be with her real mother. Real mother? Those 2 words felt like knives. "I am her real mother," I said, and I meant it with every cell in my body. I've been her mother for 10 years. I fed her, clothed her, loved her, raised her. Where were you when she had pneumonia at age 5? Where were you for her first day of school? Where were you when she scored her first soccer goal? Where were you when she cried herself to sleep asking why her mama left her? Emma appeared behind me in the hallway. She had heard voices. "Aunt Sarah?" Then she saw Jessica and froze. She didn't recognize her own biological mother. "Emma," she said, her voice cracking. "It's me. It's your mom." Emma stared at her blankly. "I don't know you," she said simply. "Sarah is my mom." I could see the pain flash across her face, but I felt no sympathy. She had earned this moment. She had created it with her choices. "You need to leave," I told her. "If you try to take Emma, I will fight you with everything I have." Jessica's expression changed from hurt to angry. "Fine," she said coldly. "You'll hear from my lawyer. I'm getting my daughter back, Sarah, one way or another." She did hire a lawyer. A week later, I received papers. She was suing for full custody. My hand shook as I read the documents. They painted me as someone who had kept Emma from her mother, who had poisoned Emma against her. It was insane. It was backwards. It was a nightmare. I hired my own lawyer, a woman named Patricia Gomez, who'd handled family law cases for 20 years. "This is going to be expensive," she warned me. "Custody battles are long and brutal." I didn't care about the money anymore. Emma was 13 now, old enough to have her voice heard, old enough to choose. I would spend every penny I had to protect her. The legal battle took 8 months. 8 months of stress, of court dates, of Emma having to talk to social workers and psychologists. Jessica's lawyer argued that she had gotten her life together and deserved a second chance. My lawyer presented 10 years of evidence. Bank statements showing every dollar I'd spent, medical records with my name as the guardian, school records listing me as the primary contact, testimony from teachers, from Mrs. Chen, from Emma's soccer coach, from our neighbors. Everyone who had watched me raise this child while Jessica was nowhere to be found. The hardest part was Emma's testimony. She had to sit in the judge's chambers and answer questions about her life, her relationship with me, her feelings about Jessica. I wasn't allowed in the room, but Patricia told me later that Emma had been clear and strong. She told the judge that Sarah was her mother in every way that mattered, that she didn't want to live with a stranger, that she was happy, loved, and cared for. Jessica testified too. She explained her depression, her overwhelming feelings as a young mother, her decision to leave Emma with me temporarily while she sorted herself out. Temporarily. She actually used that word to describe 10 years. She cried on the stand, talking about how much she missed her daughter, how she thought about her every day. But when the judge asked her why she never sent a letter, never made a phone call, never tried to see Emma even once in 10 years, she had no good answer. In July 2026, the judge made his ruling. He granted me full legal custody of Emma. He terminated Jessica's parental rights due to abandonment. He said that while he believed Jessica had changed and was sincere in her desire to be a mother, too much time had passed. Emma had a stable, loving home with me. Uprooting her now would be cruel and not in her best interest. Jessica was granted supervised visitation rights, 2 hours every other week, if Emma agreed to it. Emma chose not to see her. Maybe someday, she told me, but not now. I'm not ready. I respected her decision completely. Jessica sent emails sometimes, asking about Emma, trying to apologize. I responded briefly, keeping her informed about major things, school achievements, activities, but the relationship was over. She was a biological footnote in Emma's life now, nothing more. The financial toll of that custody battle was enormous. Patricia's fees were $28,000. Court costs, psychological evaluations, expert witnesses, another $7,000. I had to take out a loan to pay for it all, but I would do it again in a heartbeat. Emma was worth every penny, every sleepless night, every sacrifice. Today, Emma's 15. She's thriving. She's on the honor roll. She wants to be a veterinarian. She has friends, hobbies, dreams. She calls me mom without hesitation. We have a beautiful relationship built on years of trust, love, and showing up every single day. I'm 38 now. I never did get to live my 20s the way I imagined. I never traveled through Europe. I never had a carefree young adult life. But I have something better. I have Emma. Sometimes people ask me if I regret it, taking her in that night, sacrificing so much. The answer is complicated. I regret that I had to. I regret that Jessica put us both in this position. I regret the financial struggle, the years of stress, the loss of the life I had planned. But I don't regret Emma, not for 1 second. She is the best thing that ever happened to me, even if it happened in the worst way possible. I've calculated that I've spent approximately $156,000 raising Emma over these 10 years. Rent, food, clothes, medical care, school, activities, legal fees, everything. That's not counting the opportunity costs, the career advancement I missed, the relationships that never happened. But Emma is priceless. You can't put a dollar amount on love, on becoming someone's safe place, on being the person a child knows will always be there. My sister Jessica asked me to babysit for a week. That was 10 years ago, and she never came back. But in her absence, I became a mother. I found a strength I didn't know I had. I built a family that's real and solid and full of love. And when I look at Emma, at the incredible young woman she's becoming, I know that every sacrifice was worth it. My name is Sarah. I'm 38 years old. I'm a single mother by circumstance, not by choice. And I've learned that family isn't always about biology. It's about who shows up. It's about who stays. It's about love that's proven through actions, not words. If you've gone through something similar, if you've been left holding someone else's responsibility, if you've sacrificed your dreams to protect someone you love, I see you. Your story matters. You matter. What would you do in this situation? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Write me where you heard this story. For more real-life stories like this, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. There are many more stories waiting for you. Until next time.